I have no communications in the package. Marlene and Susan, do you have an item for other business?
I do, through you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, to the board. I just wanted to acknowledge that this is Environmental Public Health Week, and it runs from September 25th to 29th. This year's theme surrounds honoring tradition and inspiring innovation. We recognize the important work of our environmental public health professionals that they carry out in their communities each and every day. Included in these professionals are our very own public health inspectors and others on that team. Our public health inspectors conduct a multitude of activities, such as inspecting daycare centers, personal health services, restaurants, bunkhouses, water haulers, recreational facilities. They handle rabies investigations and respond to health hazard complaints. They investigate outbreaks in long-term care homes, and they ensure our safe drinking water supplies. To put it into perspective, in 2016 alone, our public health inspectors conducted 1,381 food inspections, 481 seasonal housing inspections, 92 recreational water inspections, and they handled 470 rabies investigations. So on behalf of the Haldimand Norfolk Health Unit and Norfolk County, we want to acknowledge these individuals and to say thank you for their hard work and dedication that they've put into every aspect of environmental health, day in and day out. Our public health inspectors continuously strive to protect the health of the public. They play a vital role in educating our communities on key environmental health issues, and they take pride in the relationships they build with all of our community partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said, Susan. Any other questions or business from board members? Mr. Columbus?
Mr. Chairman, it was mentioned some statistics there that I'd like to have. I wonder if we could get that what you just read sent to us through an email. Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you. Anything else? Moved by Geisen, seconded by Oliver, that a bylaw 2017-09 BH. This is a confirming bylaw for the proceedings of the Board of Health for the Haldimand Norfolk Health Unit at this Board of Health meeting held on the 26th day of September 2017 be passed, signed by the clerk and the chair, and affixed with the corporate seal. Discussion. Those in favor? That is carried. That concludes our Board of Health meeting for September. We need a break. We have a public meeting in 3 minutes, but we'll take a little longer break. I'll start rounding you up at about 10 after or so. Thank you. Yeah.
beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk.
I'd like to get started. I do have enough return to have a quorum. I just want to welcome everyone here for the public meeting. Council did start at 3 p.m. this afternoon, and at 4 o'clock we did our Board of Health meeting for September and just concluded it. So we will now recess back as council. I will now officially open the public meetings held under the Drainage Act, Planning Act, and the Municipal Act. I will advise all of those in attendance that the Ontario Municipal Board has the power under the Planning Act to dismiss an appeal to either a zoning bylaw and/or an official plan amendment if the appellant does not make oral submissions at the public meeting today or does not make a written submission to Norfolk County Council before the zoning bylaw is passed and/or the official plan amendment is adopted. Let's go to our first report. It's staff report PW 17-69, page 29 of your agenda. This concerns the new Lakeshore Road Drain 2015 consideration of contract price. I will now open the public meeting on staff report DCS 17-69. Now, Council, you'll recall earlier this month, our Public Works Department presented a report on this matter, and we directed our Roads Department to leave their name on the drainage petition. As we are the only signature on the petition, we are holding this meeting to fulfill the requirement of the Drainage Act to allow any member of the public that desires to add their name to the petition to come forward. It is also important to note that in this instance, the bylaws associated with the project have already passed third reading. Sean, are you giving this report or is it planning?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll be deferring this summary of this report to my colleague, Senior Drainage Superintendent Chris Dunn.
Chris, welcome, and if you would give us this report, it'd be appreciated. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Sean. Through the mayor to council, this is a public meeting to consider the contract price for the new Lakeshore Road Drain. This is a requirement under the Drainage Act when the contract price exceeds the engineer's estimate by 133%. This public meeting and the purpose is to provide the stakeholders within the project with an opportunity to add or remove their name from the petition. And as you had mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the only signature currently on the drainage petition is Norfolk County. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Any questions from council to staff? Councilor Brunton, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, I've asked this in the past, but in the future, if we could just have a map showing the drainage area, it'd be much appreciated. Please and thank you. Thank you.
Through Mr. Mayor, it is noted.
Thank you very much. Further questions? I will ask now if there is any member of the public that wishes to add their name to this petition. Do you want to come up to the microphone, please? I know who you are, but would you give us, we got to turn that, it says talk there. I know who you are, but for the record, we need your name, please.
Rebecca Haywood. I live on Lakeshore Road, and I've been following this for 7-8 years that this has been going on. I wasn't aware of the estimate, 132% higher. So I just want to clarify, what's the petition? What are you signing, like against going ahead with this? I don't know what that is.
Chris, please.
Through the mayor, the petition is to support the drainage project going forward. And when we received the contract price, it actually came in at 144%. But as soon as it's over the 133%, that's when we need to come back to council to consider the contract price.
So, sorry, I'm kind of ignorant of the whole process. So by signing, we're saying, okay, go ahead with it. So by not signing, or those of us that live on Lakeshore Road that are not in attendance, is that just assume that you're in agreement to it.
So Chris, Becky's wondering what happens if I sign it, or what happens if I just
Yeah.
leave it alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through Mr. Mayor, currently, the way that the drainage petition is, it only requires Norfolk County's signature to move forward with the process. That is the weight of the municipality's signature on the petition. If this was other landowners that had signed and they wish to remove their name, there may have equal strengths on the signature, but in this case, the municipality signature is enough to carry the project forward.
So it doesn't absolve the homeowners from actually paying those fees, though, correct? Like, we're still obligated to pay whatever it is that comes through on the contract?
Through the mayor, that is correct.
Okay.
I take it, Becky, you don't wish to sign the petition? Yeah, I got that. Thank you. I just wanted to be sure. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to add their name to this petition? And again, I will repeat that certainly council has provided direction that we leave our name on the petition, so there is no need to ask if we wish to remove our name. Is there anything further from council members on this matter? Go ahead, Councillor Oliver, please.
Mr. Mayor, not a question now, but I know there's another staff report that deals with this same matter coming up later on in the agenda, right? So we can ask our technical questions
Yes.
more appropriately then.
Chris, that's
Thank you.
fair? Yes, thank you.
Yes, that's fair.
I would then like a motion to move that we close the public meeting. Councillor Wells has moved, a seconder. Councillor Oliver, in discussion. Those in favor? This public meeting is now closed. Does anyone wish to move the staff recommendation or place an alternative? Your wishes, Councillor Wells?
Move that we receive the report and move ahead with it.
Thank you. A seconder, Councillor Geisens. Wells has moved, Geisens has second. The staff report PW 17-69. This is the new Lakeshore Road Drain 2015. Consideration of contract price be received as information, and it will move forward. Discussion on that motion? If not, those in favor? That's carried. Thanks for coming, Becky. She helps the dentist drill my teeth. That's how I know her. Didn't recognize, yeah, thanks. Didn't recognize her without her mask on, so she told me who she was. So the Lakeshore will leave for now. No consultant here yet, so we'll leave that one till you let me know. Okay, so we're going to just move over 1749. The consultant hasn't arrived yet, so we'll just keep moving ahead. So I will go now to staff report 17-66. And that you will find, gentlemen, on page 33 of our agenda. This is an application that we have received to amend special provision 14.861, which permits a microbrewery for craft beer with a retail outlet in the rural institutional zone to add the use of a restaurant and special events, including concerts, and expand the size of the permitted brewery, including a patio. GVN Group, Inc. has put forth the application affecting the lands described as 2347 Nixon Road. I will now open this public meeting on staff reports 17-66. Alicia Call is here. Hi, how are you? Good, nice to see you, and I would ask you if you would please, Alicia, present your report. Thank you.
This is an application to expand New Lindbergh Brewing Company. which is an existing brewery in Nixon, and add a restaurant with patio and special events, including concerts. The lands are 4 acres in size and are located at the corner of Wyndham Road 13 and Nixon Road in Nixon. The lands are designated hamlet and zoned rural institutional with a special provision, and that provision is what is being amended through this application. It's staff's professional opinion that this development is appropriate on the subject lands. The uses proposed are similar to what is already permitted in the rural institutional zone and will be limited in size and scale. The large events will be limited to 5 per year from May to October, lasting a week each. Parking must be accommodated on site, and the applicant is aware of this, and a site plan will be triggered when building permits are submitted or a change of use permit. The subject application represents good planning. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you, Alicia. Are there questions from council members to planning staff? I have one. I read in the report something about a traffic study. Did I read that?
That would be triggered or required as part of a site plan in the future. They're required for most site plans.
Thank you. Councillor Block, then Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor Luke, and through you to planning staff. Alicia, just wondered, can't seem to find it readily here, but what's the maximum, there's a maximum number of people for the restaurant?
Through the chair, that hasn't been determined at this time. We just have limited the size to within the existing building.
Okay, so there would be ultimately a limitation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Oliver, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 quick questions, and the first one is related to the one that you've asked regarding traffic assessment. And I saw in the report on page 3 where this is dealt with under Public Works comments, it makes reference to a traffic assessment letter/report. I'm not sure whether we've seen that specific text before, Mr. Mayor, on these staff report comments, and I'm hoping Public Works, Sean, will hear what I'm saying. I gather if it could be a letter as compared to a report, that determines, if you like, a scale or a scope of complexity, because in my humble opinion, a detailed traffic assessment for this property in this location, given this kind of development that's being requested, would not need to be very complex. And so that's why I'm curious as to why letter/report was what was being asked for, and are staff able to elaborate for us at all what that would entail?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, at this time, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure what our development staff had initiated or what their comments included as far as this report. So
Okay, thank you.
I don't have that information available to you at this time.
Pam, please.
Yeah, thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. That's a very good question, Councillor Oliver, and it's very typical, especially through site plan applications, to receive that comment from Public Works. A traffic letter or study, it can be various degrees depending on the development. In this case, I would assume that Public Works would be looking for more of a traffic letter, and it would outline things like with the lands that are by Wyndham Road 13 and 25 at the corner there, just not having any additional entrances because it is close to an intersection, and having appropriate turning radius for things like buses and a larger volume of traffic, because we do know that this spot is quite busy, and we anticipate that when they have, especially some of their events, their concerts and brewing events, that it could become a very busy place, and we want to make sure it's safe for everyone. So that comment's very typical, and it has, we do take it with a grain of salt.
Mr. Mayor, and thanks to Pam for that answer. That's fine. My second one relates to the bullet just above it, and this is with regards to a requirement, presumably for, quote, signed and stamped engineered drawings. Again, given the nature of the property and the limited scale of the additional development that's being talked about, I was, I guess, surprised to see that we would be requiring an engineer to undertake the design, if you like, and preparing drawings regarding site grading and stormwater management. We all know that that's very, very sandy soil out in that community. And again, could anyone enlighten us as to the rationale for an engineered drawing versus one perhaps prepared by the applicant, who we know is an engineer in his own right?
Through the mayor, the applicant is an engineer, that's correct, and didn't have an issue with that aspect. All of our site plans are stamped by engineers, so that's a standard comment.
Anything further to staff at this time? I will move on then. Is there an agent or applicant here for the GVN group? Your name, sir? Yes, Mr. Gavin will be right with you, sir. Now I just have to follow the procedure, and should have told you to remain standing, I'm sorry. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to speak in support of the application? And as always, Mr. Given, we would start with you. Do you wish to speak to us? Please? And there's a little blue button on the right side that says talk. If you just push that, we can hear you. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you for letting me come here. I'm Joe Gavin, owner of GVN Group and co-owner of New Limburg Brewing Company. So we did this application. Actually, we didn't expect it. We are a brewery. We started as a brewery, but as some people know, everything goes a little bit faster as we expected. Certainly in the amount of people that come to our tap room. It was really meant as a tap room, and now we see that a lot of people like it, even from far away. People are coming from Toronto, London, Kitchener, Cambridge, name it. So to accommodate these people, that we say, okay, we have to do some more here. So one side is that we say we should have some food, also have more space for the people to sit down. So therefore we did this application. But our main focus, of course, will be the brewery. In that sense, I can say yesterday we sent the first shipment to New Brunswick. So also New Brunswick in the local liquor stores, you can now see Norfolk County on the shelf. So I think in 2 years that's quite a nice accomplishment. And we hope that we can keep up in the pace, in a good standing to grow in Norfolk County here.
Thank you, Mr. Given. Is there any questions for this gentleman? Councillor Columbus, please.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Joe, can you explain to us, your hours of operation are rather limited to the public.
So
can you explain that?
So
in case there is a concern that way.
So we are a brewery with a license to sell by glass. That means that we have a license to start serving at 11 o'clock in the morning, and the last call is at 9 o'clock. So the retail can stay open because that's from the municipality till 11 o'clock. So we close now at 10 o'clock because our last call is at 9. Also, when we get a restaurant license, there would be the possibility that we, in cases, can be longer open. What is now not the case. We are limited to 9 o'clock.
How many days a week?
7 days a week.
7 days a week, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Given, thank you, sir. I will ask again if there's anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in support of this application. Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in opposition or in general to this application? Hearing none, and I do just point to council, as you know, there's a letter of concern in our agenda on page 48 from a nearby resident. I just bring that to your attention. Is there anything else from council on this matter? Councillor Black.
Mayor Luke, yeah, you just made reference to this letter, and I thought I read in the letter that they were a little bit worried about camping. Did I see that in the letter?
You
Is it-
did in the second to last paragraph on page
Will they
49.
be camping?
To staff, will there be camping allowed in the zoning for this property?
Through the mayor, camping was originally requested, and because the neighbor didn't want to see camping, Joe has removed that from his application. No.
No, thank you. Good question. Thank you. Nothing further. I will then ask for a motion to close this meeting. Councillor Sonnenberg has moved and Geisens has seconded that we close this meeting. Those in favor? Public meeting is closed. Gentlemen, what's your wish? Councillor Oliver, please.
Mr. Mayor, I would move the recommendation on page 1 of the report.
Thank you, sir. Moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Columbus, at the application by GVN Group, Inc., that's Joe Gevin, at 2347 Nixon Road in Simcoe. This affects the lands described as Part Lot 13 and Concession 13, and it's in the geographic township of Wyndham, Norfolk County. This is to amend the Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014 for reasons set out in the report. And the file number is there, and that the public input was received and was considered as part of this decision discussion. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Page 51 of the agenda. This is staff report DCS 1764. This is an application to add special provision 14.926 to the subject lands to permit the construction of an accessory building requiring relief of 90 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area of 100 square meters. This is to permit a maximum usable floor area of 190 square meters. Eric and Kathleen Herring have put forth the application that affects the lands described as 238 Norwich Town Line Road. I will now open the public meeting on staff report 17-64. You're still here, Alicia? Thank you. Way you go.
This is an application to construct an accessory building requiring relief of 90 square meters from the maximum usable floor area of 100 square meters to permit 190 square meters. The lands are designated and zoned agricultural and are 0.86 acres in size, and the house is there is a house on the property and it's located within a woodlot. Staff are of the opinion that this is appropriate development in the agricultural zone. The building will be used for personal storage with minimal impacts as there is a large distance from surrounding neighbors. It will be accessory to the residential use on the property. The subject application represents good planning. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you, Alicia. Questions to Alicia? Is the applicant, Eric or Kathleen Herring, in attendance? Thank you. Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in favor of this application? And as always, Mr. and Mrs. Herring, if you wish to speak, you may. It's your call. You're okay at the moment? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in attendance who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in opposition or in general to this application? Anything from council? I would like a motion then to close the public meeting. Wells has moved, Brunton has seconded that we do close this public meeting. Those in favor? This public meeting then is closed. Council, your wishes? Councillor Sonnenberg.
The recommendation in the report.
Thank you, sir. I need a seconder. I see Councillor Geisens. Sonnenberg has moved. Geisens has seconded. The application of Eric and Kathleen Herring, 238 Norwich Town Line Road, R2 Otterville. These lands are described as part of Lot 47, Concession 2, NTR. Geographic Township of Middleton, Norfolk County. To amend the Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014, it be approved for reasons set out in this report, and that no public input has been received for this application and therefore will not be considered as part of this decision. Discussion. Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I'm going to keep moving on with our applications. Let's go to page 67 of our agenda. An application has been received to add special provision 14-927 to the subject lands. This is to permit an accessory building requiring relief of 123 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area of an accessory building of 100 square meters, and this would then result to permit a floor area of 223 square meters. From the maximum permitted height of an accessory building of 6 meters to permit a height of 6.7 meters. Kevin Mudford has put forth the application affecting the lands described as 1412 Charlottesville East Road, Quarter Line Road. I will now open the public meeting on staff report 17-65. Alicia, please. Thank you.
This is an application to permit an accessory building measuring 223 square meters in size where 100 square meters is permitted, and 6.7 meters in height where 6 meters is permitted. The lands are zoned and designated agricultural and are 3.18 acres in size and part of a 15-acre lot. They are located on the east side of Charlottesville East Quarter Line Road and contain a dwelling, and the lands are heavily treed. Staff are of the opinion that this is appropriate development in the agricultural zone. The building will be used for personal storage with minimal impacts, and it is screened from surrounding neighbors. It will be accessory to the primary residential use on the property. This application represents good planning. Staff support the application and recommend approval.
Thank you. Questions to the planner from council. Councilor Black.
I guess more of a general question than anything else. I know we've received quite a number of these, but it seems to me that it's not a small amount that we're approving over and above the established 100 square meters, or just over 1,000 square feet, I guess. Like, how do we determine, why do we have a limit of 100 square meters when we're allowing these buildings to be double the size? Like, what is the determination? Like, when we have that level of 100? I don't get it. Does it have anything to do with the fact there's nobody around, or a larger piece of land, or how do you determine that?
Through you, the mayor, to Councillor Black, that's a very good question. And yes, we have been seeing, I would say, more of these applications as of recently. I'm assuming it's because people have larger accessory vehicles that they're wishing to store. In most cases, that's the reasoning behind these applications. It really depends for each one on a site-specific basis on what's around it, if there are neighbors, if there's enough buffering, if it makes good planning sense. In all the cases that come before council, they don't meet the 4 tests of a minor variance, and that's why they're not going to committee of adjustment, and that's why they're in front of you. As a planning staff, we are doing a little bit more research on if there's an opportunity to increase the size in our zoning bylaw as of right to allow more opportunities for these at a bigger size and scale. But we want to make sure we've done all the necessary research before we bring that forward to council for approval.
That's okay. Thank you.
In some instances, I can see why someone would want it larger. Like you said, they may have a boat, they may have a number of vehicles and storage. But I guess what I fear, because we've had this problem in the past where somebody will build a large building and then tell us that it's, for storage, and then it ends up being a commercial use. And we have had that, and it's created some big problems. So that's the only thing that I guess I'm concerned about. So I don't know if you want to comment on that or not.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilor Black again, planning staff concur with your comments, as well as there may be some opportunities for habitable dwellings created in bigger accessory buildings, and those are things that we let the applicants know that are not permitted. So we do inform both for industrial or future business possibilities and also habit humantation. And that's information we share generally, but we do understand your comments.
Thank you. Councillor Columbus, please.
Well, Ms. Disling mentioned that they understand the comments, according to what Councilor Black had asked, but how do we monitor to ensure that it is not put to a different use? We keep some statistics. Does bylaw go out there from time to time to check on it? Because we all know that in the urban areas, the downtowns are kind of struggling, and if everybody's moving out to the rural countryside, creating businesses, it's kind of deteriorating our downtown cores.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's a good question as well. Currently, Development of Cultural Services do not monitor. That's on a complaint basis.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant Kevin Mudford here, or agent? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in opposition or in general to this application? Any other questions from council? Motion to close this public meeting. Councillor Sonnenberg has moved. Councillor Oliver has seconded that we close this public meeting. Those in favor? That is closed. Looking for direction. Councillor Brunton.
Move the recommendation in the report.
Thank you. Councillor Oliver has seconded. Brunton and Oliver. They have moved and seconded that the application of Kevin Mudford of 1412 Charlotteville East Quarterline Road in Simcoe, Ontario. This affects lands as part of Lot 19, Concession 7 in the geographic township of Charlotteville to amend the Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014 for reasons set out in this report 1765. No public input has been received for this application and therefore will not be considered as part of this decision. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, those in favor? That's carried. Gentlemen, I note that our consultant has arrived, but there's 3 or 4 left and we're on a roll. I would like to continue, and then we'll get to the consultant and that report. With your permission, if you object to that, let me know, please. We'll move on to page 81 of the agenda. This is staff report 17-69. An application has been received to amend the Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014 to change the zoning on the subject lands from agriculture zone to hamlet residential. Ed Kromzak, and I hope I pronounced that properly, has put forth the application affecting the lands described as 4795 Highway number 59. I will now open this public meeting on staff report 17-69. Mr. Matt Vaughn is with us and he will present his report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The subject lands are approximately 1 acre in size and fronted on the southeast side of Talbot Road in the hamlet of Cortland. The lands contain a single detached dwelling, and the subject lands are part of a larger farm parcel measuring 28.7 hectares or 71 acres. Surrounding land uses are agricultural and hamlet residential in nature. Subject lands are designated hamlet residential in the Norfolk County official plan and zoned agricultural in the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. These are just a couple of pictures of what stands there today. It's the opinion of community planning staff that the requested zoning bylaw amendments considered appropriate development. Permitted uses in the hamlet residential zone are allowed in the hamlet designation in the official plan and will create an opportunity for a new lot in Cortland that maintains the rural character of the area. Overall, the intent of both the official plan and PPS will be maintained, and the subject application represents good planning. Planning staff recommend approval.
Thank you very much. Questions for this gentleman? Anything for Matt? Is the applicant Ed Kromzak here or an agent? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in opposition or in general to this application? Council, anything further for Matt Vaughn? I'll need a motion to close this public meeting. Geisens has moved. Columbus has seconded that we now close the public meeting. All in favor? This public meeting is closed. Your wishes, Mr. Black, Councillor Black?
Luke, I'd move the recommendation contained within the report.
Thank you for approval. Councillor Geisens has seconded that. And this is the application of Ed Kromzak at 32 Talbot Street, Cortland. Affects the lands described as part of Lot 20, Concession 1. This is in the geographic township of Middleton in Norfolk County. This is to amend Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014, and it's for reasons as set out in the report 17-69. There was no public input received, and therefore this application that was not considered in this application as part of the recommendation discussion. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll go to page 91. Staff report DCS 17-74. An application has been received to consider an amendment to the Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014. This is to rezone the subject lands from agriculture to hamlet residential, and it will facilitate residential development. The lands are located within Forestville and designated as hamlet within the Norfolk County official plan. The proposed amendment would bring the zoning in line with the official plan designation to Carlos Farms Limited and Agent Dean Morrison has put forth the application that affects the lands described as Charlottesville Road 1. I will now open the public meeting on 17-74. Yes.
If you open it on 75 too, she's going to present both of them together.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I've just been told you're going to do both of these together?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I am. Try and save a few minutes of time for you.
Well, I'll try not to delay this then. I'm all for saving time. I'm just curious. They are as two motions. I will deal with them separately. Fair enough, and we'll deal with both of these applications at one time. Is that fair?
That
I think
sounds
this
great.
is a first for me. Yeah, so you and I are making history.
I like to keep you on your toes, sir.
Okay, so we are dealing with both these. Would you like me to read the other application as well?
That would be wonderful.
I think I should. That would only be fair. We've also received an application, I am told, by the DeCarlos Farms Limited at 899 Charlottesville Road 5. This affects the lands of part of Lot 1, Block 6, Plan 33B in Charlottesville of Norfolk County. This is to amend our zoning bylaw 1Z 2014. And that application is before us and will be dealt with at the same time. This is the estate of Benjamin Dawson, yes, and Agent Dean Morrison again has put forth this application. And it affects the lands, as I said on the other one, as Charlottesville Road 1, both together. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, and council, staff, and public. This public presentation as with respect to two zoning applications that have been put forward for two separate properties within Forestville. The properties are located on Charlottesville Road 1 and are adjacent to each other. Both properties are currently designated within the hamlet of Forestville and zoned agriculture. The intent of the application is to rezone the two parcels of land from agriculture to hamlet residential. The intent of the application is to facilitate residential development on the subject lands and bring the zoning in line with the official plan. As stated, the two properties are currently vacant, and the intent will be to rezone them to the hamlet residential. Through the circulation and review process, there was no concerns or objections received from any departments or staff or members of the public. The proposal will bring the zoning in line with the official plan, which is already designated for residential development within the hamlets, and as such, planning staff are recommending support of the applications. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have. Thank you.
Questions to our planner from council. Councillor Columbus.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. To the planners. The hamlet boundary for Forestville actually runs several meters to the south.
Yeah.
And the lot that we're talking about, the two lots, are we expecting that those lots would actually extend southerly to the boundary of the hamlet?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, there's no plans, to my understanding, to increase the lot sizes. The lots are existing, and the intent was just to recognize and rezone them to the hamlet residential.
Any other questions? Thank you, Councillor Columbus. I see Agent Dean Morrison is here this evening. Welcome back to the chamber, Dean. Do you remember where your seat was? It's been a while. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to ask first if there is anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in support. Dean, I don't know if you have anything to add this time? No? Okay. Anyone else in attendance who wishes to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone in attendance who wishes to speak in opposition or in general to this application? Anything further from council towards these two applications? Okay, I will need a mover and seconder to close the public meeting on these two applications. Wells and Sonnenberg have moved. All in favor? This public meeting is now closed. I'm going to deal with these two applications separately. I will need